The members of President Trump's cabinet sent detailed secret information on the wave of bombings that they carried out on Yemen in a signal group. This after a journalist was accidentally added to that group chat. While the Trump administration has acknowledged the messages seem to be authentic, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has denied any military plans were shared and tried to discredit the journalist in question. Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, has claimed that he was added to a signal text group in which Hegseth and others planned military strikes. Now, Goldberg revealed it in a first-hand account that was published in The Atlantic. The report claims that he knew about the strikes on the Houthis just hours before they actually took place. Now, the journalist said that he was added to the group chat 2 days earlier and received messages from other top government officials designating representatives who would work on the issue. The report further said that Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, had texted the war plan in the chat more than 2 hours before the strikes. The journalist mentioned that while he initially thought that it was a prank, the reality hit home when the United States actually started bombing Yemen just hours after the messages were received. He further claimed that National Security Advisor Mike Waltz convened the text conversations to discuss the strikes on the Houthi militants in Yemen. He claimed that National Security Advisor Mike Waltz convened the text conversation to discuss the strikes on Houthis in Yemen. Signal is not approved by the American government for sharing sensitive information. However, Pete Hegseth denies the claims, saying that no one had texted any war plans. He also went on to criticize the journalist as deceitful and accused him of repeatedly spreading hoaxes.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is a guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does.
But Goldberg doubled down on his claims and told Hegseth had sent the details of the American airstrikes. Hegseth told CNN that this included precise information about the weapons packages that were to be used, the targets, and also the timing of the attacks by the Americans. Now, according to The Atlantic, the chat had top senior U.S. officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and also the Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. The White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and CIA Director John Ratcliffe were also part of this group. Now, according to details shared by Goldberg, Vance expressed doubts about carrying out the strike, saying that he hated bailing Europe out, as countries there were more affected by the Houthi attacks. A person who was identified as SM, possibly Donald Trump's advisor Stephen Miller, that U.S. needs to extract some further economic gains in return. The National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hughes further said that the message thread that was reported appears to be pretty authentic. The U.S. president said that he did not know of anything about this issue.
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
The Democrat lawmakers swiftly blasted the misstep, saying that it was a clear breach of U.S. national security and also a clear violation of law that must be investigated upon by the Congress.
On this text chain, conversations went at length about imminent military operations, including specific targets, weapons, and attack plans. These text messages very likely included classified U.S. intelligence. And the entire time, nobody seemed to realize that a private citizen without security clearance had access to this conversation. Mr. President, this is one of the most stunning breaches of military intelligence I have read about in a very, very long time.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.